warmly welcome on SMTV Lab.
So ladies and gentlemen, let us see how to calculate the heart rate just on ECG or EKG. Actually, it's very easy to calculate the heart rate. You use the speed of the ECG paper within the machine, which is 25 millimeter per second. Therefore, 1 minute corresponds to 25 times 60, which equals to 1,500 millimeter. This means the 1,500 millimeter of the ECG paper lowers within 1 minute. Do you understand? We are going to use this in order to calculate the heart rate. So what you should know is that the ECG paper has small squares. Each small square side equals to 1 millimeter. Then those small squares, they make big squares, and each big square has a side of 5 small squares. Therefore, the big square side equals to 5 millimeters. Good. Therefore, what you should know is 25 millimeters equals then to 5 big squares, but also equals to how many small squares? 25 as well. So now, if we find one big square between two adjacent arrow waves, arrow wave will represent like one cycle of the heart. Therefore, this means there is 1 beat in every 5 millimeters. You remember, the big square has 5 small squares, and every small square side equals to 1 millimeter. Then, what do you think will be the heart rate? Let's see. So therefore, the heart rate is going to be 1,500 divided by 5, which is equal to 300 beats per minute. Do you get me? So we are going to use the real ECG paper or electrocardiogram with the heart tracing on it in order to know it very clearly, so that it will be easier for you next time to calculate the heart rate. So guys, this is how the ECG paper or electrocardiogram looks like. Good. Let's come back here. When you see this paper, there are some squares, the big squares, and also there are some small squares within these big squares. So in each big square, let me zoom, there are some small squares. 5 small squares on each side of this big square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And you remember, when this electrocardiogram lowers within the electrocardiograph, 5 big squares, so lowers within 1 second. You get me? 5 big squares lowers within just 1 second, which means within 1 minute, that equals to 60 seconds. We will take 5 big squares times 60, which is 300. Then when you take the small squares, these ones, you remember there are 5 small squares at each side of the big square. Then if we'd like to know the small squares within 1 minute, there will be 300 times 5. That is 1,500. Do you get me? So then, in order to calculate the heart rate, what you do, you look at this arrow wave. So these are the arrow wave. They are part of QRS complex. So this wave that deviate more than other waves is called arrow wave.
Then we will be calculating, counting the squares between these, the adjacent or consecutive arrow wave. And this becomes easier when you have the regular rhythm, which means the distance between every two adjacent arrow waves are the same. Now let's count from these two arrow waves. These are two big squares plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we have small squares, 10 small squares plus 4 other small squares. They are 19. They are 14 plus other 4 small squares. Then we have 18 small squares. And you remember, within 1 minute, how many small squares we have? We have 1,500. Then, in order to know the heart rate, we are going to take that 1,500, divide this number of the small squares. So it will be 1,500 divided by 18. That will be 75 beats per minute. That is the heart rate of our patient. It's very easy. So, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope it's very helpful. So please, don't keep this information just with yourself. Share this information to your colleagues. And see you in another video next time. May God bless you abundantly. Please support this channel by pressing like, subscribe, and the bell.